99 Nolan Ryan literally just dropped today, and you can get him in the Set 3 Chase Pack. And while I do plan on eventually getting him and giving him a debut, for now I want to go through this card and his attributes, and why he may not be as good as we may all think. Last year, our no-hitter cards were really popular choices in this game, and Nolan Ryan was one of them last year with really high hits per 9. With how pitching and certain things changed this year, I think this card might not be as lights out as he was last year, and a little bit of a sign of things to come with some of your high velocity pitchers like Nolan Ryan. So these are 99 Nolan's attributes, and there are a bunch of things to discuss here with Nolan Ryan. First of all, he is someone that doesn't really have a slider on his card normally. Really high velo type pitcher, and those pitchers are really tough to hit in DD, especially when you have, outlier four-seam fastball with really good control and break on it. Playing on Hall of Fame and Legend difficulty, especially, pitchers like this could be a little bit tough. So really, all of the attributes are really solid on this card, other than the walks per 9, which may lead to some more walks and may be a little bit of a problem. So yeah, Nolan Ryan looks scary good with the high velo stuff. The pitch mix is pretty good. A slider would make Nolan Ryan elite, but he doesn't need a slider. It's very difficult to time up an outlier four-seam and then slow down to a really slow changeup, and also slow down to a sinker. That's pretty good break. But I want to go through exactly why someone like Nolan Ryan is not going to be as effective this year as he was last year, because pitchers like him basically got directly tackled with some of our content and gameplay changes before the year. So here we are in custom practice, here with 99 Nolan Ryan, or at least a version of him offline. I tried to replicate all of the stats from Diamond Dynasty and get the basically exact same type of card. They're basically the same exact thing. So first, I want to share with you guys why someone like Nolan Ryan is very effective to pitch with in Diamond Dynasty, especially if you're going to be playing on Hall of Fame difficulty in ranked seasons. This is the part of the game where the velocity really starts to come into play, and Nolan Ryan's velocity is really the thing that makes him really good. So first, we're going to start off with the four-seam fastball. And first of all, you will see this fastball doesn't have outlier. For some reason, Nolan Ryan's stupid card offline doesn't have outlier. So you see he's got a very fast fastball. And something with his release, it feels like the ball just zips out of his hand. I think, the motion's a little bit deceptive. It's very tough to hit, especially in online games. Especially when you have this to slow down to as well. A really slow circle change that, 3/4 of the way to the plate looks like a four-seam. Oh yeah, and then you have a sinker too that you can mix in with the four-seam just to get a little bit of a change of speed out of a fastball. So even though someone like him doesn't have a slider, he is someone that is typically tough to hit for those people who struggle against the high velocity. And people who are introductory on Hall of Fame, people who are kind of on Legend difficulty, you're going to have a really tough time hitting Nolan Ryan. However, while he does have the really good stuff, there are a couple things that were changed this year to kind of make pitchers like Nolan Ryan a little bit less effective. If you remember all the way back to our gameplay stream before MLB The Show 22 dropped, a couple things were tuned with high fastballs and sinkers and pitchers with outlier. First of all, any pitcher with outlier is going to have slightly less control. So even though Nolan Ryan does have 99 velo, 99 control on his four-seam fastball, it does not mean he's guaranteed to have a really small par. Those pitchers with the higher velocities have a bigger par, and especially if you have outlier, their par is a little bit even bigger than someone without the outlier. So even though he's got the control, he's going to have a little bit of a tougher time. As you see, 99 velo, 99 control, his par is pretty big here. And to replicate this even more, Javi Guerra is his name. And I basically made him Nolan Ryan. He actually has outlier. So to work around him offline, you have to take a pitch that has outlier and then basically give him the attributes and all that. So you see I give him the motion and all that. And with outlier here, the control is not going to be as good on that 102 mile per hour fastball. You see it's got a completely different level of zip to it since hitting 101, 102 since he's got outlier. But again, the control isn't going to be perfect. He's not going to be able to locate everything perfectly on the corner. And someone like Nolan Ryan could be pretty problematic with trying to throw high sinkers. If you remember another thing that was mentioned this year, high sinkers are being combated against. So someone who has, not great control on a sinker, they're going to have a tough time locating that sinker really anywhere above that lower part of the zone. If you see, this is the par region on his sinker right now. And that's already pretty big, especially for Hall of Fame. The ball can nearly go anywhere. but you raise that up even above this lower part of the zone, and look at how much bigger it gets. And you can't throw it high. Last year, I mean, you couldn't throw a high sinker with him probably anyway, but with these high velo sinker ball throwers, you can't locate them really above the upper half of the strike zone. So if you are using Nolan Ryan, you have to be very sporadic with the sinker. You kind of have to aim off the plate intentionally. You have to keep it basically in the lower half of the plate. It's not like you could really spam the high sinker with Nolan, but you don't want to risk throwing this pitch because the par covers half the strike zone. Even you could throw a perfect pitch all you want, end up right down the middle. So, you know, throwing this little tunnel here where you throw an away sinker, and then you throw a down and away circle change, it might not be as effective with how the pitching pars work this year with those sinkers. You can't really throw them high as easily. So someone like Nolan Ryan may be slightly less effective because of this sinker change. So I think that the good hitters will get Nolan Ryan down, especially since they also tuned down Outlier to not be as high velocity this year. Guys like Jacob deGrom with an Outlier 4-seam was consistently hitting 102. However, something like Nolan Ryan, he's not going to hit 102 every single time. He's going to kind of dabble into the high 90s on some pitches a little bit more often. Those are all the things that I think could be a little bit of a counter to Nolan Ryan, and part of the reason why I don't think he'll be as effective this year as he was last year. However, it does not mean this card is going to be bad in the slightest. I want to go through and show you exactly why Nolan Ryan is going to be absolutely filthy to use, especially on Hall of Fame and Legend difficulty in this game. First of all, we got to talk about the stamina. The 115 stamina is elite. And while stamina works a little bit more functional this year, Nolan Ryan with 115 stamina can stay in the game all game. If you throw like 5-6 shutout innings, you are in a good spot to go the entire game. Throw, you know, 115, 120 pitches with them very easily. And with the current state of bullpens, that's really good because relievers are good, but they're not really as dominant as the starting pitchers are at this current point in the game. So someone like Nolan, if you could ride him out what the fuck? For the length of a game and get that confidence meter high, it's going to be very difficult to mount any sort of late comebacks against him because the stamina will be good, so he'll stay in the green energy-wise for a lot of the game. And he's going to have a lot of confidence at that point, which is very tough to break when you're late game against pitchers like him. And he's got good enough control on that 4-seam and the 12-6. Those are two pitches you probably want to throw the most. Probably want to throw those 12-6s below the zone or maybe just on the corners of the zone away from hitters. Try to get some early swings and then just dabble in the circle change here and there because it's a little bit slower than the curveball, which is actually a little bit trippy because normally the curveball is slower than the changeup. And the beauty of it is you can mix in the sinker, change in speed, throw those inside the righties. They will have a tough time hitting him. Like you could throw a 4-seam up and inside here to a righty and they could probably be late on it, but they show any sort of evidence of sitting on that fastball. You could throw this sinker right inside off the plate, and when you're sitting on that fastball, it is impossible to hit because he's still got 95 on the sinker with pretty good break. It's going to be very, very difficult to take that pitch when you also have to sit on an inside 4-seam. You're playing against people that struggle against velocity. Nolan Ryan should be an absolutely effective pitcher. So yeah, Nolan Ryan is going to be one of the best pitchers, and he's definitely the closest contender to 99 Randy Johnson right now, I would say, in terms of being a top tier starter in the game. And if you guys want to download this roster, I am going to save and upload this as a roster. So if you want to get some batting practice against Nolan Ryan, you could do so just like this. So all you need to do to get this roster, if you want to get some batting practice against this Nolan Ryan, what you can do is just go to the vault, hit square, hit search, and then search either my name, the Scann. It is probably the only roster I've uploaded. You could do this, or you could search 99 Nolan BP, and you could search this on the vault. You'll see my name is going to be the only one that shows up. You could give this a download, and if you want to get some reps of Nolan Ryan, maybe practice his motion, practice pitching with him. I try to replicate his exact same card from DD, so this should be probably as close as we're going to get. And if you want to face the Nolan Ryan, make sure you face the other one. Make sure you face Javi Guerra, because he has Outlier and actually replicate his card in DD a little bit more. That will be it for this video. Make sure you like this video if you enjoyed this little mini deep dive. Also, by the way, if you do support the channel and want to come hang out with me, if you're into All-Star festivities this year, you should swing by the Xbox Plaza on the 18th at 1 p.m. Pacific. We're doing the MLB Creator Cup. with a bunch of other people. I'm playing MLB The Show on a stage with a bunch of people in a little co-op event. So if you want to come see me play, come hang out. This event is public for everyone. Swing by the Xbox Plaza. I'll leave the link to MLB's tweet about it all. And if you can't see it then, go swing by SDS's Twitch channel. They should be streaming it there on Twitch as well. You have a great rest of your day. Appreciate you all watching. I'll see you all again on the next video tomorrow. Deuces.